Hi, peeps. Guess the slur in the comments. Carmen Mola. Have you heard of Carmen Mola? I mean, have you heard of Carmen Mola? Mrs. Mola is a prize-winning multi-novelist and Spanish author. Carmen was born in Madrid, Spain. She's a professor in her late 40s, a mom of 3, and likes to write crime thrillers in her spare time. She's currently published 7 books since 2018. The Gypsy Bride, The Purple Network, The Girl, The Beast, The Mothers, Hell, and The Clan. In 2021, the year, Mrs. Mola won the Premio Planeta Literary Prize. Man, say that 4 times fast. With her book, The Beast, which resulted in Carmen winning €1 million, or close to 1.2 million bucks, based on an average of $3 per 2 liter of Coke, or 381,491 2 liters of Coke. The batshit wacky part, she was born in 2017. Well, created in 2017. Turns out it was 3 men all along. The deceit, the sham, the horror.
Titulada La Bestia, de Carmen Mola.
Y la bestia.
Porque detrás hay más sorpresas, porque detrás del seudónimo Carmen Mola se encuentran los escritores Jorge Díaz, Agustín Martínez y Antonio Mercero.
Esto es algo inédito en la historia del Premio Planeta, que haya un seudónimo escondiéndose detrás de otro seudónimo. Y ahora sí, estamos deseando...
These 3 men were Jorge Díaz, Agustín Martínez, and Antonio Mercero. So what does this prove? It takes 3 men to do the job of... Can't say it with a straight face. So what does this prove? It takes 3 men to do... So what does this prove? It takes 3 men to do the job of 1 woman. That's right. Now this hasn't gone without criticism. There was an article published by a woman's thing, losing the freedom of choice. She typed, "Fundamentally, it's because my freedom of choice was taken away." More reasons added. 1. Women losing the opportunity for a woman to win a prize and a nice amount of money. 2. That a possibly increasingly equitable world, one of the rare chances to become a published author went to a man/men. Reason 3. She's upset that men wrote a female character offering the readers a glimpse into the female psyche. More Turns out there's more than just those 3 reasons. All these elements will be so much less frustrating to me once women have at least an equal opportunity to have their voices heard. Okay, here will be my rebuttal to that, to those, or whatever you want to call it. The first rebuttal, which is women losing the opportunity for women to win a prize. They didn't lose the opportunity. I'm assuming it wasn't the only book in the running for the prize, so women could have won. They just would have had to write a better book than Mrs. Mola. 2. The rare chances of becoming a published author. Everyone and their mom can write a book now. Anyone can publish a book. Like, I have an old coworker that's currently going through the legal process of getting it all the kinks worked out. It's not
impossible.
Like, I've even picked up really cheap random books. Anyone can write a book. 3. About these men writing a female character to get a glimpse into the female psyche. I personally don't know a whole lot about the female psyche. I know a little bit about human psyche, I guess. Barely. I know a little bit more about men than I probably do women. The problem is people, men, women, humans, we are complex, and this also goes for our characters and writing the characters. Everyone's different. People and characters, like I said, can and are complex. I can guarantee there's plenty of male authors that every time they write a brand new book, they keep recycling the same type of character or the same character, just maybe under a different name. there's not a whole lot of maybe depth to the character or attributes, maybe. Plenty of that, and it also goes for like female authors. I know for a fact there's female authors that only seem to know how to write about
smut.
It's just how it is. By the way, men ain't the only ones that are terrible about writing about the opposite sex. Like some of these male characters you females come up with. Alright, fuel, here we go. They misled the public by using feminized autobiographical details to lead us astray. No offense, gentlemen, Mrs. Mola. They just picked a stereotype, which makes, like, the scenario kind of makes women a little mushy, and I don't blame them. You know, a mom of 3, in her spare time, she's writing these novels, and that's intriguing, but it's also a little stereotypical. Like, maybe I've seen too many movies of, like, the mom that wants to do something that she's great at, and she doesn't get the opportunity, and now she has the opportunity. It's mushy, you know, it's kind of like an underdog story, but it is like a stereotype. The only reason it didn't work, or now isn't going to work, is because they did so well they won a prize for their work. That was appreciated by women. Or at least the illusion is now not there. But till then, all the customers were eating up the books. So, but leading the public astray, it just seemed too on the nose for these guys. Like, it kind of sounds like a joke in a way. Like, there's no way we're getting away with this. To me, anyways, that's how I read it. What I dislike most in this situation is that I didn't get to choose whether I wanted to read a female or male author. No comment. I take that back. Congratulations. You got both. You didn't lose the freedom to do research. Look into it. Look for a digital footprint. Anything. Oh, but nothing was stopping you to looking into it even more. A woman's voice created by a committee of men feels minimizing, as if women aren't individuals, but rather a lumpy mass of stereotypes. So what does that say about the individuals that believed this was a woman then? If the details didn't work, or the description didn't make sense, they wouldn't be stereotypes. Or there wouldn't be stereotypes for you girls. But it worked. It worked very well. That's a choice I consciously make every time I buy a book. I don't not buy male authors. And I am aware, with every book I buy, of the balance between male and female authors on my reading list. I make an effort to skew that list in the female direction. Yes, I do that. Right there. I'm sure you're not the only woman to think that way. Those men pulled a smart move even unintentionally. Even possibly unintentionally. I would say it's a preference, but it's not, because you're purposely skewing it. And look, if you have your preferences, if you just want to listen to, or read, if you just want to read female books, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, most of my books are male books. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't force it on everyone else. Skew away. There's certain authors I can't read, male or female, if we've got to categorize them. Most of my books are males, but that's more of the topics I follow. Just more, it's more male dominated in that genre. I think it's more of a modern female author that I can't read too much, because I know in the industry, like, smut is a huge one, and I have no interest in that. And the smut that's in the books that I read isn't a whole lot. It's vague moments, and there's not a whole lot of description to it, which is, you know, like, it's very clear, and sometimes there'll be these little, like, hints of, like, or details, but it doesn't focus on that. And that's a personal thing. That's a preference. We can have our preferences. Nonetheless, skew it. Cut out all the male authors to do your part. I know that's not what you're saying, but I mean, at this point, it's like, why not? If you're that conscious about it, or you're that worried about it. The problem with that is you lose a lot of quality in your literature. I haven't read the books, so Carmen Mola could be writing smut books. And if that's the case, you're not losing much quality, in my opinion. Buying a book is not just buying a book. If Alina Ferranti turns out to be a man, I will be disappointed. Who's Elena Ferranti? Who's this lady? It just looks like some female pseudonym. Okay. Well, I hope it's not a man for your sake. You might have a meltdown. Overall, Mina Samuels seemed to be kind of nitpicking to a certain extent. I'll try to skim through a few more. Feminist writer and author Beatrix Gimeno attacked the authors by saying, quote, "Quite apart from using a female pseudonym, these guys have spent years doing interviews. It's not just the name, it's the fake profile that they've used to take in readers and journalists. They are scammers." That's the only original take. The rest was kind of complaining about the same stuff that Mina was upset about. Scammers, I mean pseudonyms, I guess. If we want to count that as scamming, but that's been going on probably since the beginning of time. It just doesn't apply to books. I'm sure there's examples for both ways, or arguments on both sides about it. Kind of seems like low-hanging fruit, I guess. But I guess in that case, there's a lot of scammers in literature, But that goes for a lot of industries, I suppose. They don't seem like trolls. They don't give off that energy. They just seem like they want to write some books. We can't be showing Beatrix Mrs. Doubtfire. Even though it's a movie, the sheer idea of a man deceiving people as he plays the role of a woman. Ooh, her head will pop. Alright, let's move along. See what else we can find. Any more criticism? Laura Cassiels, a poet expressing her frustrations, were apparently about the marketing of Carmen Mola at a time when literature by women is finally getting its due, stating, "There's been a long struggle by activists and writers to win interest in editorial space. Seeing that men are trying to take advantage of this moment for their own commercial benefit, well, it's going to leave some blisters." Well, again, this ties back to the pseudonyms. Should we no longer use pen names anymore, or just fake names? J.K. Rowling, she did that. Maybe that's an internet myth or something, but what I heard was her name's Joanna, but she used J.K. because it seems obviously more masculine than Joanna. Can we agree on that? But she did another series under a new pseudonym, a male one. I bet these activists wouldn't tell J.K. not to do it, or any other woman. They probably don't see the reason, especially like she just said, that women are finally getting their due. Currently, J.K. is using another male's pseudonym. It's Robert Galbraith. She wanted to distance herself from Harry Potter and everything, which is respectable. And she wrote a brand new series. I think it's a detective series and what have you. Here we go. She winds up saying, "If sales were what mattered to me most, I would have written under my own name from the start, and with the greatest fanfare. It isn't about the money, or she doesn't have to. She's loaded now, but she doesn't have to worry about that, for one. But two, I also admire it because it also shows how good you are at writing. Especially, apparently, in a now industry where women are more, let's say, favored. If you're stacking the odds up against you, I don't know, I applaud that. That's pretty cool. I'm sure these activists wouldn't say that about JK, that she couldn't do that, or that she had to write strictly under her name, or any woman can't. But what they can't say is women can do it now because there's still bias. The problem is that doesn't work because if anything, there's probably more of a bias against men. So that doesn't work. So if anything, again, I applaud Rowling for that. Well, yeah, but I'm sure there's tons of male authors that went by female pseudonyms. Let's check that out real fast. Google. All right, here we go. Male authors who use female pseudonym. Boom. Here we go. Several male authors have been chosen to publish their works in various regions, including yep. We got L. Frank Baum, who wrote Edith Van Dyne, Charles Leslie McPhair, Caroline Keene. Other examples: Dean Koontz. Okay, hers. Eleni Ferranti. That's that chick from earlier, right? Oh, man. Oh, she's gonna be fired up. Oh, man. Oh, she's gonna be ticked off. We gotta look into that. Alright, I've looked into it more. It seems it's still like a mystery on who that is. There's still nothing confirmed. Or the most likely is Anita Raja and or her husband Domenico Starn 1. Who's gonna tell her? Alright, so FYI, if you look up Alina Ferranti, you get this woman. This is Ann Goldstein. She's an American translator. So I guess she's translated a few of her books. So she pops up when you look it up. Not Elena. Alina or Elena? Not Elena. Okay. I've been saying her name wrong the whole time, I guess. Okay. Alright. Whatever. Okay, yeah, there's a few dudes who've done the female pseudonym. Cool. Back to that. If everything they wrote about was true and women connected with it, I don't see a problem. Like, if it was genuine. This is like the whole Jesus argument. People, every culture, like I've seen like Asian Jesus, black, white, Jesus, saw him. Across the board, all of them. Jesuses, all the Jesuses. Every Jesus has their culture that reflects their culture. Every culture has their Jesus that reflects the majority of the culture, or at least some people believe that. Not everyone believes, we've got, different. Some people don't care. What I'm trying to get at is, who cares what he looks like? It's the point of Jesus that matters. It's the message, what it's about, not these like little details about him. Because if those details contradict the message, which they don't, then it doesn't matter. So I mean, I guess see him how you want to see him, but as long as the message is the same, the point of Jesus is the same. I ain't saying you can't debate it or talk about it, but what's the overall importance of insert topic? Agree on that, and then you just go from there. If the best argument is, well, one of us didn't do it, or one of us didn't make it, these feminists are just kind of getting, or these women are just getting tribal about it. The problem is they did it well, but if that's the argument, one of us didn't make it, then I don't blame the guys at all. If that's the stance that these women are taking. Women in a time when they were disadvantaged took steps to help sell books through those pseudonyms. Sometimes. What was it? Like take Mary Shelley. I think she was around like maybe the 1800s. Let me look that up real fast. She published this in 2025. I'm just kidding. 1800s. Like, and apparently it did well, and like it stood the test of time. It's a timeless piece now. It's a classic. But back with the pseudonyms, some women obviously probably didn't. Hence that. Agatha Christie, that's another old one. I don't think she's as old as Mary Shelley. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say that those are exceptions. But how about sometimes it's just circumstance, and sometimes they're just shitty authors. They're just terrible authors. Women or not. I think overall the work speaks for itself over time. If it's unbelievable, people will pass it around. Sometimes, yeah, there's forces that hold things back. Absolutely. We can't deny that. But just again, like over time, light shines through. Over time, all this fake promotion with nonsense attachments, and when they get the product sucks. You shouldn't like something because you're obligated to, or because it's momentarily trendy. If the product is great, it becomes timeless. All that mumbo jumbo that was added to sell it, it vanishes over time. This whole, it's a minority or insert representation that wrote it. Well, that might not be relevant in a century. All that little mumbo jumbo stuff. We're just left with a timeless piece of work. But back to the argument. I'm taking this at face value. Some might argue it's female-led, the book industry. If we're in a time when women are shining most or are favored, which I would believe that, why not? Why blame these guys? As a companion once told me a while back, we're all too equal now to blame anyone else. You know who you are? Well put. It'd be worse if these men were creating what Mina said they were creating. A lumpy mess of stereotypes or disgusting scenarios which belittle women, or worse, and then pretend to be a woman on top of that, doing it. And it'd be really terrible if people eat it up and love that. That'd say a lot more apply about the fan base than anything. But if I was a feminist, that's when I'd probably speak out. Not with like something like this. Now I'd be disappointed. I get it with the whole tribal thing. Like sometimes something awesome happens, I could see how feminists would be all like finding out if they were a woman. I see why they'd get a little bit chipper, like, one of us did it. Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, don't get all butthurt when it's not that. Just be all like, take it on the chin, I guess. But I doubt any of that's happening in the Carmen Mola books. These men did a concrete job of writing as a woman. They're literally winning prizes. There was a regional branch of the Women's Institute that recommended one of Mola's works as a part of a selection of books by female authors. Quote, that could help us understand the reality and experiences of women in different periods of history and contribute to raising awareness about rights and freedoms. Apparently, the Women's Institute must hate women. They got tricked. They pulled one over on them. I think really, when you boil it down, I think they're just upset that a man did a good job through the female psyche. Or working through the female psyche. Because if it was all BS, I think women would have saw through it. Alright, let's see. Oh, get back to the men though. Carmen, or the three men, even responded. I don't know if a female pseudonym would sell more than a male one. I don't have the faintest idea, but I doubt it. He continued. We didn't hide behind a woman, we hid behind a name. Which makes sense. It does. I guess Carmen Mola translates to Carmen's cool. That's awesome. Women, come here, zoom up. They were giving this to you on a platter. This seems like an inside joke to me. Like, I can't believe we're getting away with this. Let's check out best-selling authors by decade. 2010s we'll start with. I ain't gonna do 20s yet. We ain't got a decade in. James Patterson, whoever that is. Alright, 2000s, J.K. Rowling. I could have guessed that. 1990s, Catherine Cookson. 80s, unknown various. 70s, unknown various. 60s, unknown various. 50s, unknown various. 40s, unknown various. 30s, Margaret Mitchell. Okay, I guess, man, she must have sold a boatload if she got the 30s. Okay, the 20s, possibly Zane Grey, but still various and unknown. The teens, unknown various. 1900s, unknown various. 1890s, Charles Dickens. All right, I'm stopping there. That'll work. Let's do centuries. The 20th century, William Shakespeare. But I guess a close second, with half of his sales, was Agatha Christie in the same century. Holy moly. Half? And then 2000s, this century, J.K. Rowling. That makes sense. Okay. If we were to look up the most selling authors, okay, 6 of the top 10 most selling authors of all time are women. Agatha Christie being the first. Barbara Cartland, Danielle Steele, J.K. Rowling, Enid Blyton, and Jackie Collins. Only heard I think 2 of them maybe. When I was growing up, I genuinely believed like women weren't even like allowed to touch a pencil like 40 years ago. And like there was a ton female authors. More than I was expecting, honestly. I mean, what the fuck is this shit? It turns out it won't be long till Agatha Christie surpasses Sir William Shakespeare. Daggum. Even with his 3-century head start. Congrats, Mrs. Christie. Mrs. Christie. That rules. Congrats. Daggum. She's be the most selling author of all time. But back to the original point of topic. Carmen Mola. One of the authors took it upon themselves to compose an independent book, published with his own name. Jorge Diaz. If you were a fan of Mrs. Mola's, would you pick up Jorge's book? Deuces. Hi, peeps.